KTAR News now.
It's 9:32. I'm Shira Tanzer.
Arizona votes 2024.
Just days after her loss in the U.S. Senate race, Kari Lake has reportedly settled in the election defamation lawsuit brought by Maricopa County Recorder Stephen Richer. KTAR's Jim Cross is live in the news center.
Yeah, sure. Details of settlement still confidential. Washington Post reporting on Sunday, Richer told them in a text message both sides satisfied with the result. Now, Richer accused Lake of making repeated false and defamatory statements following her loss in the 22 governor's race that resulted in him being harassed and threatened. Richer saw his re-election bid end this summer in the GOP primary. Defeated by Justin Heap, Heap went on to win the general election for Maricopa County Recorder. Live in the News Center, Jim Cross, KTAR News.
A surge in Latino voters helped fuel Republican Donald Trump's victory over Democrat Kamala Harris in the presidential race. Arizona U.S. Senator-elect Ruben Gallego on CNN Sunday called on members of his Democratic Party to start listening to Latino voters, especially when it comes to the economy.
You know, we knew that something was bad with the Latino community when it comes to their opinion of the economy, because I'm very much connected to it. I think a lot of politicians didn't want to hear what was actually happening out there.
Gallego defeated Kari Lake to win the Senate seat. Governor Katie Hobbs is set to make a major announcement when she visits the Arizona border today. Hobbs has pledged to work with the Trump administration on how the federal government can create real solutions to the state's border issues.
As governor, I have and will continue to stand up against actions that hurt our communities, but I will work with anyone who is doing what's right for Arizona.
Hobbs' upcoming announcement comes after Arizona voters approved Border Bill Proposition 314, which Hobbs strongly opposed. We'll have more on this throughout the day. And now for a check on traffic, here's John Roller live from the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
Thank you very much, Shira. Right now, one crash working coming in from the East Valley. This is going to be the westbound Loop 202 Red Mountain Freeway right near Scottsdale Road. And taking a look at this, looks like this crash is partially blocking the right lane. So as you come around the bend there, lean to the left. That's the only slowing I'm seeing. We still have a little light slowing coming in on the eastbound I-10, starting right at about 47th Avenue in through the stack over to 7th Street. Not too bad, though, maybe an extra minute or two on your right in. Rest of the Valley main line's looking good, and one surface street crash. It's in the clearing stages over in Tempe, Southern Avenue, just east of Rural. Traffic is brought to you by the Evernorth Care Group. Your health is everything. Get integrated primary care with Evernorth Care Group. Schedule a visit today at evernorthcaregroup.com. John Roller, KTAR News.
And your KTAR weather for the Valley is sunny today. Sunny for the next few days in the Valley with a high of 70 today and a low of 49. Right now it's 54 degrees in Tempe. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. Whether a place or repair, call Howard Air. I'm Shira Tanzer on Arizona's news station KTAR News. It's August 28th, and on this day in 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous I Have a Dream speech at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed.
The address was delivered to more than 250,000 people participating in the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. The American civil rights activist called for an end to racism and equality in civil and economic rights, referencing the Gettysburg Address and Emancipation Proclamation. King then went off script to deliver the most well-known part of the speech, sharing his dreams for the future of America and the end of segregation.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech was aired on ABC, NBC, and CBS, and it's widely considered to be among the most iconic speeches in American history, and it was given on this day in 1963. Arizona State University will now offer a master's degree in artificial intelligence in business. Daniel Mazzola with ASU says students learn how to use AI as an assistant to import and analyze data and improve human work.
Not just using, but learning how to use AI in mindful ways where we deal with the ethical aspects, the privacy, to make sure that it's being used for good.
This is the first graduate program focusing on AI in an American business school. Shira Tanzer, KTAR News. A man has been arrested for allegedly sexually assaulting a woman outside a Prescott bar in 1995. According to the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office, 52-year-old Gerald Todd Tubbs was booked into jail earlier this month after a DNA sample from 28 years ago matched him to the profile. Volunteers from the cold case unit had discovered the DNA sample had not been sent to the FBI's database because the system wasn't created until 1998. They then sent it in, resulting in his arrest. Shira Tanzer, KTAR News. ASU will soon build the world's first compact X-ray free electron laser, or CXL. Bill Graves with ASU says unlike other X-rays that can take pictures of chemical reactions, this camera can actually take videos on a molecular level.
How is the virus evolving to get around those defenses, and how can we engineer new drugs that will protect against the evolution? We can speed up that process of discovering more effective vaccines.
Graves says the advanced camera can see how viruses attack individual cells and how the drugs they administer bind to proteins. Usually these X-ray machines are about a mile long and cost billions of dollars. ASU will get to build this X-ray thanks to a $90 million grant from the National Science Foundation. Shira Tanzer, KTAR News. According to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, Arizona is home to 72 endangered or threatened animals. Michael Ring with the Phoenix Herpetological Society says that's because we have unique environments not found anywhere else in the country, which makes him confident in the future of our state's endangered animals.
Culturally, our state is really geared towards conservation. It's a very wild city. We have mountain lions within our city limits.
Ring says we've seen improvement in reestablishing some of these species in the last 50 years.
There have been a great deal of success stories since the mid-20th century when the act was first passed.
Mexican gray wolves are perhaps our state's most famous success story, with the species on the brink of extinction until captive breeding programs got the wolves back on their feet. Shira Tanzer, KTAR News.
KTAR Eyes on the Economy. Regardless of the election outcome, you may be worried about the future of our economy. And for small business owners, the concern is even bigger. KTAR's Shira Tanzer is live with some new data.
The Small Business Optimism Index was up in October, but so was the Uncertainty Index, something Valley economist Jim Round says is because of the election. He tells Arizona's Morning News for small business owners the election hasn't settled the economy yet, but there's more hope about the future of the industry.
Typically, they feel a little bit more certain after the election's over, and they kind of have an idea of what's in front of them. And Harris and Trump had very different economic plans, but there was a lot that was unclear in those economic plans, so they're going to still have to wait and see what happens.
Rounds explains because of smaller companies' low margins of employees and resources, every economic change is felt more.
While the rates of growth have been in check, costs are still fairly high, and we're not expecting them to go down to normal levels for a while longer. So small businesses are going to have to absorb those losses. They just don't have as much flexibility as bigger businesses do.
Round says we could see a small economic letdown, but he thinks it will be manageable for small businesses. Live in the news center, Shira Tanzer, KTAR News.
Are you ready for it?
State Farm Stadium is turning into
Holy Grail
this weekend for Taylor Swift fans as the singer brings
the very first night
of her Eras Tour to Glendale. The city will welcome the 11-time Grammy winner and even change its name in honor of Swift for the 2 days she's in town, making this tour one to remember
forever and always.
Glendale streets may turn into a once the Swifties get to town. We know how bad the traffic can get, so
Long story short,
plan your ahead of time if you're traveling in the area this weekend. Shira Tanzer, KTAR News.